Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the all-time greatest recordings in the history of the universe. And I mean, any universe, all the universes, the multiverse. I'm not kidding. It's George Szell and the Cleveland Orchestra doing Hindemith and Walton. Now, this one, by the way, this particular issue of it, because these things were mindlessly coupled and recoupled and issued and reissued. This is the Japanese Sony Szell edition. See, you can see the little Japanese stuff on the back there. So I don't know if you can, well, you can get this from Japan. That's for sure. Whether you can find it easily elsewhere, I have no clue. But what you get is the Hindemith Symphonic Metamorphosis on themes by Weber, one of the all-time great performances of that masterpiece. And then Walton's Variations on a Theme by Hindemith, which is his greatest work after the First Symphony, I think. You know, after his early works, of his later period, the Hindemith Variations are just amazing. And the Walton Second Symphony. Now, Walton and Szell had a very cordial relationship, and Walton wanted Szell to play his music very, very badly because he knew that no one was ever going to do it better. And nobody has done it better. There are people who have done it as well, I suppose, but there isn't anybody who has superseded these performances. They are glorious. And, you know, it's such a pity that Szell didn't record more 20th century music because everything he did was at the same unbelievably high level as his, like Beethoven and Mozart and everybody else. So it would have been incredible if he had done more. But on the other hand, he did do a lousy Janacek Symphonietta, and his Bartók Concerto for Orchestra was nothing special, and his Prokofiev Fifth was kind of lousy. So, you know, he also had his weaknesses. Everybody does. Everybody has their pluses and minuses, right? I mean, they just do. But this Walton stuff is amazing. I mean, they're wonderful, wonderful pieces. There is only one tiny defect. And the one tiny defect, and it's very interesting, is that the climax of both works, the Hindemith Variations and the Second Symphony, occur after a lot of, you know, brouhaha and orchestral mayhem with a tolling of a bell, a bang on a chime. And Szell's chime is a little weak. You don't really hear it. Szell's bell doesn't tell. Let's put it that way. And I always thought it was like so surprising because everything else is so transparent and clear and detailed to the last nth degree. But it, like I said, it just goes to show that like he was only a human being. But wow, this is such a great, great disc. It was very well recorded. It's come up wonderfully. And I have to tell you a little bit about the Hindemith Variations because it's such a beautiful work. The theme of the Variations is that of the cello concerto, the slow movement of Hindemith's cello concerto, which is a lovely, lovely work. It never gets played. It's terrible that it doesn't get played. It really deserves to be heard vastly more often than it is. But the theme is wonderful, and what Walton does with it is brilliant because the odd variations tend to speed up. The slow ones sort of slow down, and then there's a big fugue at the end. Hindemith loved the work. He was still alive, fortunately, in order for Walton to hear it. The two men had a very cordial relationship because both of them had a philosophy of music that emphasized craftsmanship. That is, you know, craftsmanship, that is finish, the art of writing and notating music in the most artful possible way. And in a sense, you know, the emotional expression sort of came afterwards. You know, late Walton does not have a lot of emotional drainage, to mention one of the topics we've been talking about recently. It really doesn't. It's more about, you know, the sophistication and joy in writing just immensely entertaining, but not romantically hot and heavy stuff. And of course, Hindemith was the paragon of German neoclassicism, the new objectivity. And while he believed in the expressiveness of music, for sure, he did not accept, you know, the romantic idea of everything being subjectively hot and passionate and that sort of stuff, which is kind of interesting because his early stuff was expressionist to the nth degree as well. It was amazing. So both composers were sort of traveling on similar paths, particularly in their later music. And so when Walton dedicated this piece to Hindemith, he did it with the idea that he revered Hindemith as a superior musical craftsman who didn't make concessions. And Walton really didn't want to make concessions either. That's why he left England, wound up on the island of Ischia, or Ischia, whatever you call it, doing his own thing for most of his later life, and very slowly composing and then stopping entirely. But the Walton Hindemith Variations is his masterpiece, and Szell's recording is the ultimate, so far, performance of this incredible work. So it's just a great disc. Hindemith and Walton and Szell. What a combination. What an amazing combination. Just the highest musical values that you will find on one disc. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.